Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in your corner of the world. We're going to get right in to the next in this series. Swift completes landmark DLT proof of concept. Proof of concept is one of the most extensive Hyperledger Fabric 1.0 implementations executed in the industry to date. And again, the Hyperledger Fabric is directly running through IBM off of the Stellar network. So you can see how Swift was already connected to Stellar. The POC went extremely well, providing the fantastic progress that has been made with DLT and the Hyperledger Fabric 1.0 in particular. A direct statement from Damien van der Weken, the head of research and development at Swift. And Swift is the 40-year-old antiquated system, as Trump and the Ripple executive Brad Garlinghouse have stated, which Ripple is designed to replace on the digital asset level. Instead of taking 3 to 5 days, the new system would take 3 to 5 seconds. Again, guys, I'm showing you over and over and over and again. Again, the DLT connects to more than just XRP, the same way that ODL is not only limited to XRP. So a lot of information I feel people need to be knowledgeable on and understand. It is focused on XRP, but it is not exclusive to XRP, as David Schwartz has stated and we have shared on Twitter. There was another... it is strategic priority for Swift to work with new technologies like DLT and incorporate them into key solutions like GPI. And we know the DLT specific here they're speaking of through the Sandbox initiative is the Hyperledger Fabric, which runs through IBM exclusively on Stellar. Another thing too we're going to do here, we have... I totally didn't even start the article. The GPI real-time Nostro proof of concept directly from Swift's white paper. We have here developing DLT usage with this community through POCs deployed in the Swift DLT Sandbox, which is the Sandbox initiative, which allows them to test and try new technologies. And again, you have the reuse of ISO 20022. So you have here API, DLT, ISO 20022, directly connecting to Hyperledger and Stellar. So again, it is not exclusive to Ripple and XRP. Just want to be clear with that. There's a lot of misunderstanding and misdirection on that. Here, Hyperledger Fabric selected as the underlying technology for the Swift DLT Sandbox for its support of the following features. You get here the permission ledger, data distribution, integration with certification authority, accessing the key authenticity, smart contract platform chain code in the Hyperledger Fabric terminology. And I believe, again, that's why Ripple is partnering up with Ethereum, because Ethereum does offer smart contracts the way Stellar has it as well. Hyperledger is an open source initiative driven primarily by the needs of the financial industry. Swift, as well as a number of the participants to the proof of concept being Hyperledger members, made the latter a good fit. Here we have again the Hyperledger Fabric 1.0 going through, etc., etc. Here we have Hyperledger Fabric is not different in the regard that are reflected in the DLT Sandbox. Again, Sandbox initiative allows them to try something that without regulations for a time period to test new technology. It gives them legality. Leveraging Hyperledger Fabric 1.0, the DLT Sandbox clearly demonstrates significant progress of DLT towards maturity, especially with regards to data, confidentiality, governance, identification framework, and scalability. Moreover, the Hyperledger Fabric consensus algorithm demonstrates a very low latency and promises to support very high throughput. Again, we have here Hyperledger Fabric provides a framework that ensures the data is stored only on the peers having a stake in the transaction, guaranteeing data confidentiality down for the POC, servicer of the Nostro account didn't change, etc., etc. Hyperledger Fabric shows to be straightforward form of development from a development standpoint. And the tools are stable, which is an important factor to guarantee productive development. And the Hyperledger Fabric fully relies on name-value pairs as the only supported data structure. This is a weak foundation to implement the richness of the ISO 20022 data model, again connected to Stellar. The Hyperledger Fabric with Swift assets to deliver a unique offering tailored to the needs of the financial industry. The solution leverages Swift's comprehensive governance and identification framework, complemented by extensive controls guaranteeing confidentiality and security. And we went through those. So we'll move beyond there. Hyperledger Fabric is released. Chris Ferris, chair of Hyperledger Technical Steering Committee, and the CTO Open Technology, IBM, and Jonathan Levy, nominated release manager of Hyperledger Fabric 1.0, creator of Hasera. So we're going to continue again throughout each video and throughout each series here to share this information. And if you're an investor in XRP and or XLM, by the time we're done with this series, you should be very excited. If not, for each video should create a whole new level of excitement. Another few sections I want to point out here too. I'm scrolling slow because I know if you see that fast on your screen, it's kind of a little irritating. The Hyperledger Fabric have grown in true vibrant community, including engineers, going through all these, and then here you have the IBM, and you have the Hasera, the DTCC, Hyperledger Fabric, connecting back, and you have no open source project is ever done, and the same can be said for Hyperledger Fabric. There's much that we want to do, including improve the delivery of a Byzantine fault-tolerant orderer capability. Again, the Byzantine fault going directly to Stellar with other Hyperledger projects such as Sawtooth, etc. And then we'll scroll down. There was one more piece of this article. However, the project's maintainers felt the time was ripe to deliver a robust initial major release with the objective of allowing consumers and vendors of technology based on Hyperledger Fabric to advance to the next stage, production deployment, and operations. Again, that runs on Stellar. And here we have IBM joins Hasera. So you're going to see, again, everything we mentioned. We're going to back it up to create the blockchain equivalent of the Yellow Pages. Let's see, did I highlight this one? I apologize for going so fast. I guess I didn't, or maybe I popped it off when I just did that. The tech giant IBM has announced its partnership with the blockchain development company Hasera to deliver a platform that would list all blockchains and blockchain-related businesses. According to the announcement on Thursday, Hasera will lead this project while IBM is joined as a founding member. I believe there was another one. Here we have the Unbounded Registry built on blockchain technology provides a decentralized means to register, look up, join, and transact across a variety of blockchain solutions built to interoperate with all of today's popular DLT. Oh, here it is. I must have unhighlighted it by accident. The project is built on Hyperledger Fabric and supports all major digital ledger communities, such as Ethereum, the Linux Foundation's Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Sawtooth, Stellar Network, Cosmos, Quorum, Corda, and others. There are already over 70 networks in the registry, including IBM's Batavia, Hasera's BT, Microsoft, Everledger, Huawei, Intel, Oracle, Finastra, and SAP. We can go through a bunch of these, but just really quickly grabbing some. You have Hyperledger Fabric, Direct Statement, Stellar Network. You have Quorum, which is Ethereum. You have Corda, again, which goes back to XRP through R3 and Ripple Connection. Here you have the straight out obvious. You have IBM, you have Hasera, you have Microsoft, which connects back to even Ripple, the way IBM connects back to Stellar. again and again and again, just interwoven, the three of them, throughout the entire new financial system. Even a recent article, March 28th, 2020, the WHO, or World Health Organization, launches blockchain platform to fight the issue at hand. Okay, let's get down in here. It's tricky not to discuss that at times. I know as content providers, we were given guidelines. We are allowed to say it now, but it's just easier because there's so many details. Specifically, we have to state it. It's easier to still just leave it off because it's tricky. They'll still delete the videos. They're going through the DLT-based platform. The platform Mipasa is built on Hyperledger Fabric, again, which we already know, directly through IBM and Stellar. Mipasa has been launched in partnership with technology company IBM through Hyperledger Fabric, again, which runs on Stellar. But I think it's great because I want to go into a little bit more of this article. As you're going to see again, they prove the research very accurate. A Chinese journalist who has also used Ethereum ETH to bypass censorship and publish an interview with a Wuhan-based doctor on the pandemic. So there they've already included directly the Ethereum in the blockchain events. And I believe there was another section I must have passed. Let me see. Okay, Hyperledger Fabric, the IBM, we have Ethereum. Let's see. Let's see, Arab Emirates. Okay, I guess that was it for this article. There's so much, it's so complex. I'm really trying to stay on focus for you guys, so this is it's very challenging. Believe me, when you have that many tabs open and you're trying to explain and show all these clearly, is very, very challenging. So thank you for your patience in dealing with this, but it's very important that you understand basically the new system is running on Ripple, Stellar, and Ethereum. It will use others, but those are the major focus because of their ability and capability. Microsoft Blockchain as a service embraces Ripple. This was really just to show, as we've mentioned in the previous tabs that are the articles, that Microsoft connects to Ripple the way IBM connects to Stellar. And again, here we have Microsoft is working with Ripple, direct statement, to add a pure-play transactional financial services angle to its recently released blockchain as a service, the BaaS Toolkit, BaaS. Microsoft announced in October plans to provide a blockchain platform on its Azure cloud using Ethereum. Again, now you see you have a Ripple Ethereum connection. Again, it's all around. Once you learn how to see it and understand that the connections, it becomes a lot more exciting. Are you thinking that the same thing? How are you feeling as an XRP investor, especially if you're new, going, wow, is this a scam? Is for real? Is this going to actually happen? What is this new currency? Now we're laying it out. That has been happening from the beginning. I think we've shown since 2015, the three of them behind the scenes have been working everywhere and even together. All right. I think that was it for that article. Blockchains, how they work, and why they'll change the world. Again, this article showing all the way back to 2017. Now let's get into it and analyze the article just a little bit here. Did I go too far? This is showing a lot of history. Going back, basically, a lot of the article gives a lot of credit to Bitcoin. Here we have, let's see, Uber, Netflix, and flight insurance provider on the market. Those three proposed applications aren't hypothetical. They're just a few things now being built on Ethereum. You have the Ethereum virtual machine on the blockchain universe. You have Ethereum. And then you have Microsoft offering its customers tools to experiment with blockchains, applications on the Azure cloud, which they're connecting the Azure cloud back to Ethereum. Microsoft, we already know, is connected back to Ripple, as we've stated. Now you have IBM, which we know is already using Stellar. And they have an open source blockchain initiative called Hyperledger, which again runs on Stellar as well. So again, here you have it all the way back in 2017, stated throughout this article over and over. Ethereum, Ripple, and Stellar. I believe there was more. Let me keep scrolling down that I wanted to share from this. Just a random thing I'm going to toss out. You have Bitcoin with Satoshi Nakamoto, and again, the Satoshi Pay runs on Stellar. Let's see. I believe there was something else I wanted to share in this article. All right, let's see. Therefore, it is crucial that all miners on the Bitcoin network have the same copy of the blockchain and that all changes and transactions are irreversible. The fact that they're all playing the same music is very important for the music to sound good, says Stefan Thomas, a developer for Ripple, a Bitcoin-inspired digital currency. And again, that's where Ripple's XRP, they were always labeled as Bitcoin 2.0. I believe there was another section in here. It's a little bit longer, but I'm scrolling a little bit slower for you if you happen to watch your screen. I don't want it to be obnoxious, as I stated before. And here you have in the article, 2013, Vitalik Buterin devised an entirely new blockchain called Ethereum. The goal of Ethereum was to take what Bitcoin had done for currency and expand it into other realms. And that's what there are a lot of other lanes or realms, as it's stated, that are focused on Ethereum as not so much competition, because it's mostly with its smart contract capabilities. And not to skip consensus on purpose, because we already know the connections there. But again, as we come down into this, it didn't take long for these institutions to realize that the open structure of blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum ran counter to their needs. Of primary concern was the anonymity of users who on open blockchains are represented by alphanumeric public addresses, providing no indication of their real-world identities. Banking laws in the U.S. and elsewhere forbid such anonymity. We have to know particularly who our participants and counterparties are on these platforms, says Tim Swanson, the Director of Market Research at R3. And we know R3 Corda is running on Ripple's XRP. Here you have R3, which raised $107 million from more than 40 institutions, released its first permissioned ledger, Corda, and Corda already has a competitor. JP Morgan, which left the R3 consortium this past spring, has released its own permissioned ledger called Quorum. And again, so here you have it. There was a time where JP Morgan was testing XRP, and then it went to Ethereum. So we have XRP and Ethereum here again and again, showing you guys, I want you to basically have that in your confidence, in your mind, all the knowledge that you can, knowing how amazing as an investor these are going to be. And again, I still feel that regardless of the interacting, the maybe not official partnership, although we do know it is through DTCC, which is massive through derivatives, the partnership, I still believe that XRP, Ripple's currency, still has to be the highest value for its intent to move all value on the enterprise, the wholesale and institutional level, because the volume is much more massive and higher dollar value. Here, IBM, Hasera create distributed yellow pages for blockchain networks. It's not a lot. It's really just the only thing it states, but I just want to reiterate again. And then IBM yellow pages of blockchain. As we scroll down into this, we know IBM is now a member of the Hasera Unbounded Registry, decentralized cross-blockchain registry initiative. And here again, we have the DLT, Distributed Ledger Technologies, linked to blockchain protocols like R3 Corda, which we know as XRP, Stellar Network, and Hyperledger Sawtooth. And the cool thing with Hyperledger Sawtooth there is we'll get to shortly. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but it's great if you're an investor in XRP or XLM. And again, here we have IBM and Hasera technology since 2019, when Hasera became one of the first members of the IBM blockchain ecosystem, which in 2017 introduced the Hasera and IBM released managed Hyperledger Fabric, again running on Stellar. We're going to get into the next article. IBM Hasera partnered to launch Yellow Pages of blockchains. I'm trying not to repeat too much of the previous information, although again, it just shows the consistency of the research. IBM is one of the main stream companies which are heavily focused on blockchain technology. Recently, IBM launched a Stellar-powered near real-time payment processing system called Blockchain WorldWire, BWW, and the solution is created to aid cross-border settlement between banks. And here they have directly off Hasera.com, directly from their website. Today I am proud and excited to announce that we have joined the Hasera Unbounded Registry as a founding member. As the number of blockchain consortiums, networks, and applications continue to grow, we need a means to list them and make them known to the world. In order to unleash the power of blockchain, the Unbounded Registry, built on blockchain technology, provides a decentralized means to register, look up, join, and transact across a variety of blockchain solutions built to interoperate with all of today's popular distributed ledger technologies, the DLT, including the Linux Foundation's Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Sawtooth, EEA Quorum, Stellar Network, and more. And through the research, again, you've seen we have the Quorum being Ethereum-based, and obviously Stellar directly stated out. Hyperledger Sawtooth we're going to get into shortly. Here on the Sawtooth, under consensus, the second approach is based on traditional Byzantine fault tolerance, BFT, which is a major thing for Stellar, but the algorithms and uses multiple rounds of explicit votes to achieve consensus. Ripple and Stellar developed consensus protocols that extend traditional BFT for open participation. Under the consensus of Sawtooth, you have a direct statement from Sawtooth, hyperledger.org, Ripple, and Stellar. On IBM Blockchain joins Hasera Unbound Registry as a founding member. Again, we have the Hasera Unbounded Registry as a founding member. According to IBM, the Unbounded Registry was built on blockchain technology, provides a decentralized means to register, look up, join, and transact across a variety of blockchain solutions built to interoperate with all of today's popular DLT, which includes the Linux Foundation's Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Sawtooth, R3 Corda, EEA Quorum, and the Stellar Network. IBM also revealed that Unbounded gives these network solutions a chance to be in the yellow pages of blockchain and be publicly visible. And again, here we have again the Stellar Network. You have R3 Corda, which is XRP, and EEA Quorum, which again runs on Ethereum. Every network connected join the Unbounded Network, Hasera, IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, and our other partners in our joint effort to support Mi Pasa because I care. And here you have IBM, Hasera, create distributed yellow. Again, what we've stated, but there was something, and I think I just unhighlighted it every time I do that. It's okay. I might pass it, but we'll come back. Okay, here we have currently listed on the registry are efforts launched by both startups and major financial and technology giants, IBM, Huawei, Oracle, SAP, and the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. built on the Linux Foundation's Hyperledger Fabric 1.0. Unbounded Registry itself is an open source application that allows blockchain projects to register their information in a distributed fashion. Cuomo added that the registry also interoperates with major blockchain platforms so far, including Hyperledger Fabric, R3 Corda, EEA Quorum, and Stellar. What do we have? XRP, Ethereum, and Stellar. I mean, guys, it can't be much more obvious, and this is still one of many in this series. I probably have 3 more videos. So if you're not excited yet, hold on, because it just gets more exciting, and I'm going to show you different connections. And again, it comes back to these 3 running the new financial system. Again, nothing that from each video is a repeat from the previous video. There is so much content out there that it's easy to find. You just have to pay attention and know what you're looking for. So as an investor, be very excited. And again, you know, if you hold Ethereum, you can be excited with that as well, because it's a part of this connecting to Ripple. But I am no longer an Ethereum holder, as I've stated, for transparency. The reason these series are focused on Ripple XRP, Stellar XLM. All right, guys, this is not financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. Much love to all of you, and we'll catch you in the next one.